All right, hey guys. So this is gonna be the Tayari Plaza IL strats. So I'm mainly gonna start with the box launch and then move over to like the pressure launch and some of the other strats in the level. So just to describe this box launch and how I do it, you could always come up with your own strat if you want, but this is how I do it. So the first nade that you're going to want to throw is you're going to want to be standing about here, like right where this sandbag point kind of is. The way that I kind of do it is right at the start of the level, I sort of rub up against this sandbag until like you could feel or see visually, that when you're pushing up against this, it kind of moves your aim. So even though you're kind of looking up to set up the lineup, you can still get a visual representation of where you're at movement wise. So let's show here. So I'm about here, and then that's where I would throw my first grenade. So I'm looking straight up, and then I'm right at the front corner of these sandbags. So that's sort of what you're aiming for the first nade. So you throw the first nade, and then you want to wait like a second or two and throw your second nade. The lineup for it is roughly where this pistol clip is. You want to throw the grenade right about there where you're aiming. Like right about here. And then it will bounce off the floor, bounce off the wall, and kind of nestle in right behind the box. So that was like a little off, but yeah, I mean, something like that, yeah. Now it's right behind the box, right? So yeah, you want to do that. So I'm going to show both nades now. So you want to wait a second or two, like right about now. And then that would have been like pretty decent timing. So now I'm going to show the whole trick all together. There is a third nade that we're going to be throwing. So I got a strong one there, but it was the wrong angle. It killed me. But yeah, so basically the way to think about this all, so those are the lineups that I use. Like the third nade you want to throw directly in front of you, and then it'll chain react with the other nades. But the general thinking of how the trick works with the box is the first two nades are going behind the box, and it's gonna prop up the box. At like a 45 or a 30-degree, whatever. It's going to be slanted. And then the third nade that you throw is chain reacting with them, and it's pushing you forward. So that's essentially how the box launch works, or the lineup that I use. So, come to that corner, throw the first nade, throw second nade, and then throw the one in front of you. This is an IL strat, so it's not going to work every time. It may take you 5-10 attempts to get like a decent launch, but it is fairly consistent compared to the old two-nade method that we used to use, or I used to use. So I'll go until I get a decent one. If you walk too far forward, the first nade that you throw will go onto the roof, so that won't really work. It's been a little while since I've actually done the IL, so I'm a little out of the groove. But you could even tell from like the first one that I did, like how much power you can get from doing this 3-nade version. There we go. But I hit the Phantom. This is definitely like more of an IL strat. But yeah, eventually you will get a good launch and it will send you straight to the hallway that you need to go down. So that is essentially the lineup though. If you want to grind the IL, you know, it's going to take you a couple attempts, but it is actually pretty consistent, especially when you like are grinding it. You kind of get into like a flow state where you're just inputs like are all you know, muscle memory, and you'll just kind of nail it sometimes, like, you know, launch after launch after launch, you're hitting it because you kind of get dialed in. But when you're out of practice a little bit, you know, you gotta dial it back in. However, that's generally how it's done. So I'm gonna show the pressure launch now. So the way I do the pressure launch is when we round this corner here. So right as I cross this corner of the carpet, I'm staring downwards, and then you want to throw a plasma grenade directly downwards, and you want to come right about at this sort of pathing. So I line up. I'll do it again. I line up with this line and kind of closer to the curb side of the box. You don't have to crouch or anything. If you crouch, you do get a bit more power. However, it may be too much power, or I like to stand from my experience, but you can try to experiment with crouching. But if you do stand in this area, you kind of avoid the hog most of the time, as well as the enemies. Obviously, you know, it's not exactly consistent. You know, it is pretty consistent. However, if an enemy is standing in your way, sometimes it'll eat your momentum and stuff like that. But yeah, this is sort of how I do it. You can try to headshot some of the grunts while you're waiting for the pressure launch to happen. You could also try to throw a nade to clear the hog out of the way if you want. I kind of just... I find it a bit more consistent, honestly, if you just don't do anything, really. So then that way, the plasma that a grunt is throwing or something won't chain react. As long as you're standing in the correct spot here, you know, the launch is usually pretty decent. So that's how I do the pressure launch. There is one other launch that you can do here. Let's see if I could actually revert from this part. I might not be able to. Anyways, if you were to be coming over here, you could jump and then actually shoot that crate. And then you would want to head over here. And then with a plasma... So I'll show again. So like just pretend, because I don't have a save ready, pretend that you got the health pack, you're running up this direction. You need to have a plasma grenade. So you need to have killed a grunt up until this point and have a plasma grenade. So this is just another strat that you could do instead of the pressure launch. I've had more success with the pressure launch, but you could do it this way as well. I'm going to show you. So yeah, you use this box, you jump up and just shoot the fusion coil, and then you will get launched. If you bounce off the railing, you will end up over here, which is actually the best for this version that I'm showing you. There is also another version where you could get launched off the box, sort of come over here, and then you go do the pressure launch. So that actually will save a second or two rather than just walking over there. So if you're going for the box into the pressure launch, or you're going for this box launch that I'm showing right there with the fusion coil, depending on what direction you end up here, you can go for either or strat. You can either go for the pressure launch, or you can go for this one. This one here, it seems like you actually need like pretty much full health. So if you do get shot a little bit, it may be a little difficult to do. But yeah, I like to then come here. You want to kill that sniper so he doesn't shoot you at all. And you want to be here. And then as you're running up, I like to line it up. I'm 79 FOV, by the way. But basically, as this fusion coil debris is coming to the corner of my screen and I pass it, I like to throw a plasma grenade about here, and I want it to land right on this like sort of texture or whatever it is. So that's the idea here. And then you want to jump on this box, and then if you do it correctly, you will get a launch. I find this one more risky, and there's more things that you can like get stuck on. It's harder to get the right angle. However, you can improvise. Like if you want to throw in that coil launch with that box, and then depending on where you get launched, you can go for this version or you can go for the pressure launch version. But that's sort of the lineups that I use for these several tricks. Same with the box launch. There's not really much else with the level. The rest of the level, you're kind of just trying to do it quickly, killing those snipers and trying to run through if you can. And then the a kind of stair slide or whatever at the end towards the pod. But I'm not going to go over those. Those are pretty self-explanatory, and you can watch other videos and find them. But yeah, these are like the actual tough tricks and sort of lineup based tricks that I do use for this level.